Imagine this. There's a sudden crisis, and you're scrambling to figure out how to feed your family. Do you know what could save the day? Survival foods. But here's the thing. Most people walk past these essential items every single time they're at Walmart without realizing just how important they could be. And here's the kicker. Some of these foods might even be on the government's secret stockpile list right now. Wild, right? Today, I'm going to show you 10 underrated survival foods that Walmart has hidden in plain sight. These aren't the flashy items with fancy packaging, but they're incredibly practical and could potentially mean the difference between staying prepared or being caught off guard. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this because these foods last for years, they're affordable, and most importantly, they might just save your life one day. Before we jump in, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. I'm constantly uncovering underrated survival tips and hacks the mainstream media doesn't talk about, and you won't want to miss a single one. Alright, let's get into it. Here are 10 survival foods at Walmart you're definitely going to want to add to your stash. 1. Freeze-dried fruits. Alright, hear me out. Freeze-dried fruits. These little gold nuggets of nutrition are easy to miss. They're not exactly front and center at Walmart either. You're not going to walk in and find an entire aisle dedicated to them. No way. These guys are usually tucked away in the obscure corners of the store. Sometimes you'll find them near the trail mixes or snacks. Other times they're hidden in those odd trending now sections that no one even glances at. Weird, right? But here's the thing. Freeze-dried fruits are basically the survival world's equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. Lightweight? Check. Space-saving? Absolutely. Nutrient-packed? Oh, you bet. Unlike their dehydrated cousins, freeze-dried fruits retain up to 97% of their original nutrients. Yep, you heard that right. The vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants your body screams for, all still there, ready to jump in and save the day. That makes them perfect for blackouts, food supply disruptions, or even everyday snacking. And get this, the shelf life on these things is wild. Properly stored, they can last anywhere between 10 to a whopping 25 years. Canned goods wish they could keep up. No refrigeration, no wasted food, no hassle. You just peel open the pouch and boom, instant nutrition. But here's where it gets even more mind-blowing. These aren't just a prepper favorite. Agencies like FEMA and other emergency programs are big fans too. Why? Because in a crisis, calories aren't enough. You need the right nutrients to stay healthy, productive, and, well, alive. Freeze-dried fruits do the trick. Now, if you notice they're running low at your local Walmart or seem suspiciously hard to find, it's not a coincidence. They're disappearing for a reason. The government, bulk buyers, hardcore preppers, everyone's catching on to their value. Next time you're out shopping, don't skip the snacks or those random side aisles. Look high, look low, check those weird bins. Trust me, grab a few pouches and stash them away. These things are like gold, but edible. 2. Bulk grains. Next up, bulk grains. But don't roll your eyes just yet. I'm not talking about your traditional rice or wheat here. Those are good, but the real survival game changers? It's the alternative grains like quinoa, amaranth, and millet. Remember, FEMA doesn't just stockpile rice by the ton. These alternative grains are the unsung heroes of their massive reserves. Why? 2 words: nutrient density. These super grains give you way more bang for your nutritional buck compared to the basics. Plus, after recent climate assessments, FEMA started diversifying their reserves to prepare for crop failures that could wipe out a single staple grain. Smart move, right? And you don't need to go anywhere fancy to find them. Walmart has got you covered if you know where to look. Skip the regular rice aisle. Instead, head over to the international foods section or even the organic foods section. That's where the 5-pound bags of quinoa and sneaky little packages of amaranth are hiding. Bonus: you'll often find them at prices that'll make specialty stores look like a ripoff. But here's the pro tip you need to know. Do not store these in their original packaging. Don't even think about it. If you want them to last, transfer these into food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. Done right, these grains can last anywhere from 15 to 20 years. Yup, decades of food security sitting in your pantry. And we're talking serious value too. A $50 0-cent haul can feed one person for 2 whole months. That's like pennies per meal. This is the kind of peace of mind that money can't always buy. Whether it's a storm knocking out power or something bigger, you'll be ready. Think about it. Your neighbors will be fighting over instant noodles while you'll have buckets of hearty nutrition to keep you going strong. That's next level prepping, folks. 3. Honey. Ah, honey, sweet, golden, gooey goodness. But don't be fooled into thinking it's just a sweetener for tea. Honey might just be the ultimate survival food of them all. Fun fact for you here. Archaeologists found 3,000-year-old honey inside ancient Egyptian tombs, and guess what? It was still edible. No spoilage, no mold, nothing. I mean, how wild is that? With its practically infinite shelf life, honey is a no-brainer for agencies like FEMA when it comes to food reserves. They classify it as a Tier 1 essential caloric resource. That means when the chips are down, honey's an instant energy boost for your body. And it's not just a source of calories, it's legit medicine. Here's where it gets cool. Raw honey isn't just for eating. It's a multitasker. Got wounds that need dressing? Honey can help fight infections. Can't stop coughing? Honey soothes it. Stomach acting up from stress or bad food? Yep, honey's got your back there too. A 200-compound powerhouse all packed into one little jar. Next time you hit Walmart, don't just grab the big bear-shaved bottles out of habit. Keep an eye out for their raw and unfiltered options. Great Value's raw and unfiltered honey is usually your best deal, and you can find a 32-ounce container for around $12. That's a steal compared to fancy brands. Now, here's a tip to find it. Don't just stick to the breakfast aisle, check the baking section too. And when you get home, store it in a cool, dark place. Sure, honey can technically survive almost anything, but if you want it to stay top-notch, give it a little care. This isn't just a sweet treat for your pantry, it's a survival toolkit in a jar. Whether you're planning for emergencies or just stocking up on multi-purpose foods, honey checks all the boxes. One jar could literally be life-changing when things go south. Or peanut butter, the survival superfood hiding in plain sight. Alright, number 4 might catch you off guard, but hear me out. Peanut butter isn't just a comfort food you spread on toast or dip your apples in. This is survival gold, folks. Let's start with the basics. A single tablespoon of peanut butter contains around 100 calories, 4 grams of protein, and a good chunk of healthy fats. That's insanely dense nutrition in a form that doesn't need cooking, refrigeration, or any fancy preparation. Just grab a spoon and boom, you've got energy on demand. And guess what? It can sit on your shelf for years. We're talking up to 2-3 years unopened if you get the right kind. Now, this isn't just my opinion. Even FEMA, yeah, that FEMA, officially recommends peanut butter in their emergency food supply lists. Why? Because it's calorie-dense, stable, shelf-ready, and morale-boosting. That last part is key. During times of stress and crisis, having something familiar and tasty can make a huge difference. I actually spoke to a retired military survival officer who told me that during the Hurricane Katrina relief efforts, peanut butter was one of the most requested items after the initial chaos. People weren't just starving, they were craving something that felt like home, something that could give them a quick energy boost and a mental break. And peanut butter delivered. Now, here's where a lot of folks mess up. They go for the natural brands. You know, the ones with the oil that separates on top? Skip those. In a survival situation, they spoil way too fast. You want the classic commercial stuff, like Jif, Skippy, or Great Value, because they've got stabilizers that keep them fresh much longer. Speaking of Great Value, their creamy peanut butter is a serious steal at $2.00. 24 for a 16-ounce jar, you're looking at 2,800 calories in one container. That's nearly a day and a half of survival fuel for under $3. Show me another product that gives you that much bang for your buck. I'll wait. Oh, and here's a fun little bonus tip. Peanut butter can be used as a fire starter, no joke. Because of its oil content, you can smear a bit on cardboard or cotton, and it'll help you get a stubborn fire going. That makes it dual purpose, which is gold in any prepper's playbook. Bottom line, next time you're at Walmart, look down low on the shelves, they like to hide the cheaper stuff there, and grab a few jars. Store them in a cool, dark spot, and you've got a stockpile of protein, energy, comfort, and fire-starting power. Don't sleep on peanut butter, it's a prepper's secret weapon. 5. Iodized salt, the 98-cent survival staple you're probably ignoring. Number 5 on the list is something so basic, most people don't even think to stock it. Iodized salt. Yep, good old table salt. But here's the kicker. This tiny item could be the linchpin to your survival plan. Let's get one thing straight. Salt isn't just about flavor. In fact, the US government has been stockpiling iodized salt since the Cold War. That's right. Behind all the high-tech emergency gear and freeze-dried meals, they're quietly sitting on piles of salt. Why? Because it's essential, not optional, for human survival. After the 2011 nuclear disaster in Japan, scientists found that people without access to iodine developed serious thyroid issues within weeks. Your body doesn't produce iodine naturally, but it needs it to function properly. Without it, you could face cognitive decline, goiter, fatigue, and immune breakdown fast. The CDC even calls iodine deficiency the one preventable cause of intellectual disabilities around the world. That's huge, and the best part? Salt never expires. A study from the University of Maryland found ancient salt sealed in containers from 4,500 years ago still perfectly good. It's like nature's most reliable preservative. Now let's talk function. Salt isn't just for sprinkling on food. It can help preserve meat, ferment vegetables, create emergency electrolyte solutions, and even clean wounds. I personally used salt to ferment some of my garden veggies last year, and they stayed fresh for months. No fridge needed. That's real survival magic. Now for the shopping tip. Don't waste your time with those little salt shakers. Head to Walmart's baking aisle, not the spice section, and look for the 4-pound bulk bags. They're usually down low, almost hidden, and they cost around $4.00, 27. That's enough to last a family of 4 for about 3 years. But here's what really matters. Make sure you grab iodized salt, not just regular salt. The iodine is critical. It's what separates survival salt from decorative gourmet nonsense. And here's a wild fact, FEMA recommends at least 1 pound of salt per person, but they themselves reportedly store 5 pounds per person in their deep reserves. Why would they stock so much more than they advise the public to? That's a question worth asking, don't you think? Pro tip, store your salt in airtight containers with a few grains of rice to keep moisture out. I've got mine in old food-safe paint buckets with screw-top lids. Cheap, effective, and it'll stay good forever. Bottom line, salt is one of the cheapest, most overlooked survival essentials there is, and Walmart's hiding it right under your nose. 6. Multivitamins, the most underrated survival hack out there. Coming in hot at number 6, multivitamins. Yeah, I know, not the most exciting item on the shelf, but stick with me because this might be the most underrated survival food on the entire list. Here's the deal. During a crisis, your diet is going to get weird fast. You'll probably be eating a lot of canned goods, dry beans, rice, and whatever else you've managed to stock. That means limited nutrients, and over time, that leads to vitamin deficiencies that can wreck your energy, immune system, and even your brain function. A study from the Journal of Nutrition found that even mild vitamin deficiencies can drop your immune response by as much as 30%. That's a big deal, especially in a survival situation where getting sick is the last thing you need. Now, FEMA actually recommends storing vitamin supplements, but here's the weird part. They don't talk about it much. It's buried in their internal guidelines, which tells me they know how critical it is, but maybe they don't want the shelves cleared out just yet. Here's what you do. Head to the pharmacy section at Walmart, not the fancy supplement aisle. Look down low for their Equate Complete multivitamins, usually around $8.00 for 200 tablets. That's insanely cheap. You're looking at less than 4 cents per day for a full dose of essential nutrients. And guess what? I compared the label to some of the big name brands like Centrum and One A Day. The vitamin amounts? Nearly identical. So don't fall for the branding trap. Go generic and save your money for more critical preps. Storage is easy. Just keep them in their original bottle, add a food-grade silica packet, and stash them in a cool, dark place. I use an old military ammo can in my basement. Keeps out moisture, light, and rodents. Want another crazy stat? After Hurricane Katrina, the CDC found that nearly 40% of survivors developed some kind of nutritional deficiency within just 3 weeks. Not from lack of food, but from lack of nutrients. That's terrifying. I also talked to a former logistics officer in the military who told me multivitamins are standard issue in long-term field rations. He said soldiers can be full but still combat ineffective if they're low on vitamins. That says everything. Personally, I tested this during a winter storm blackout. After 10 days of canned food, I felt groggy and sluggish, even though I was eating enough. I started taking my stored multivitamins again, and within 3 days, I felt a noticeable difference. Clearer head, better energy, real results. Insider tip, watch for Walmart's clearance stickers. They rotate vitamin stock often, and I've scored bottles for as low as $5.00 for 500 tablets. That's a no-brainer deal. And don't just buy 1 bottle and think you're set. A family of 4 needs 12 bottles for a full year. That's under $100.00 total, and it could be the cheapest health insurance you'll ever buy. 7. Powdered milk, the survival superfood hiding in plain sight. All right, let's talk about one of the sneakiest survival foods that Walmart carries, powdered milk. Yeah, I know, you're probably thinking, seriously, powdered milk? But don't scroll past this one, because this stuff is a legit lifesaver during emergencies, and the government knows it too. Now, here's the crazy part. Powdered milk isn't even in the dairy section. Go ahead and try to find it there. You won't. Instead, you'll usually spot it somewhere off to the side, near the baking goods, or sometimes awkwardly tucked away by the coffee and tea section. Why they hide it like it's some kind of secret prepper stash, I'll never understand. But maybe, just maybe, it's because most people don't realize how valuable this stuff really is. I didn't either until last summer. I was shopping with a prepper friend and he's like, dude, you don't have powdered milk in your stash? Total facepalm moment. Turns out, one container can provide months of essential nutrition, especially when the fresh milk is long gone. And check this out. Studies show that powdered milk retains up to 80% of its calcium and vitamin D even after 5 years. That's huge, because when the dairy shelves are wiped clean, and let's be real, we've all seen that happen, this powder is what keeps your coffee creamy, your cereal edible, and your kids from freaking out. It's also one of the first things FEMA distributes during disasters. I recently chatted with a former FEMA contractor, and he said powdered milk is considered a first-wave supply. It's easy to digest, high in protein, and doesn't spoil. During the 2023 hurricane season alone, FEMA reportedly handed out over 50,000 pounds of this stuff. That's how seriously they take it. And don't worry, it's not all chalky and bland like back in the day. Walmart actually carries whole milk powder now, not just the old-school non-fat version. More calories, more fat, more energy. Exactly what you want in survival mode. They even carry lactose-free versions if you ask, which blew my sister-in-law's mind. Want to be a real prepper pro? Don't just drink it, cook with it. You can use it in bread recipes, pancakes, sauces, soups, basically anything that calls for milk. I even tried making yogurt with it once. Took some patience, but it actually worked. Just remember, moisture is your enemy. I once stored mine in the garage and ended up with a yellow, nasty-smelling mess. Now I keep it in my basement in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers, and it lasts for decades. If you want the best bang for your buck, look for the Augustin Farms brand. It comes in huge containers and is a serious value play for preppers. My neighbor used to tease me about my milk stash, until a 3-day power outage left his fridge empty and his kids begging for cereal. Who had the last laugh then? Bottom line, grab it now while it's still cheap and on shelves, because once people start realizing what powdered milk can actually do, you'll wish you had bought more. 8. Canned meats, the protein lifeline you're overlooking. Now let's talk protein, because survival isn't just about having food. It's about having the right kind of food. And canned meats? These are the unsung heroes of any prepper's pantry. Yeah, tuna gets all the glory, but let me tell you, there's a whole world of canned meat options at Walmart that most folks walk right past, and some of them are getting snatched up faster than ever. Let's start with the classic sleeper hit, canned chicken. Mild flavor, super versatile, and packed with clean protein. You can throw it into soups, casseroles, rice dishes, you name it. And the best part? It's fully cooked. In a blackout, you can eat it straight from the can, no stove needed. Keystone and Great Value both offer solid versions with minimal additives. Then there's canned beef, and no, I'm not talking about beef stew or mystery meat. I mean real chunks of beef, packed in broth or its natural juices. Keystone's version is a fan favorite in the prepper world, and for good reason. It's calorie-dense, satisfying, and doesn't rely on artificial preservatives. That means no fridge required, but you still get high-quality meat with a long shelf life. But don't stop there. Canned pork is another gem people overlook. It's flavorful, affordable, and crazy filling. Pop it into beans and rice or a makeshift stew, and you've got yourself a warm, satisfying meal that keeps you going. Here's what's wild. These canned meats are rumored to be heavily stockpiled by government agencies. Think FEMA, military contractors, even local emergency management teams. Why? Because they hit all the survival checkboxes. Long shelf life, high protein, fully cooked and ready to eat. There's even been quiet buzz that government purchasing is one of the reasons why shelves keep running low at certain Walmart locations. And yeah, prices have crept up. Right now, canned chicken goes for about $3.00 to $4.00 per 12. 5-O's can, depending on the brand. Canned beef and pork are a bit pricier, $6.00 to $9.00 a can. But considering you're getting multiple servings and real hearty protein, it's worth every penny. Smart preppers? They're buying in bulk, 12-can cases, easy to store, great for rotation, and cheaper per unit. And let's be honest, you're going to want variety. Eating tuna every single day, that's a fast track to food fatigue. Having different types of meat gives you more flexibility, more flavor, and a lot more satisfaction during a high-stress situation. Pro tip: if you're trying to stretch your supplies, mix canned meats into carb-heavy meals. Pasta, rice, beans. You'll double the number of servings and make your stash go much farther without sacrificing nutrition. So if you're only stocking up on tuna, you're missing out big time. And trust me, when supply chains hiccup again or another storm hits, these meat cans are going to fly off shelves. The time to stock up is before the next panic rush hits. Once it's in the headlines, it's already too late. 9. Dried beans and legumes. The silent survival superstars Walmart keeps on the bottom shelf. Alright, let's talk beans. Yep, beans. They're not flashy, they're not trendy, but if you walk past that aisle with all the big burlap-looking bags of dried stuff at Walmart, you're walking past one of the best survival foods known to man. These little guys are survival gold. Quietly sitting there, super affordable, and seriously underappreciated. You ever notice how the military and emergency services don't exactly advertise what they stash away in warehouses? But if you dig a little, talk to the right people, read the right reports, it becomes clear. Beans are everywhere in government stockpiles. Why? Because they're shelf-stable, protein-packed, full of fiber, and cost almost nothing. Let's put it in perspective. One cooked cup of beans gives you roughly 15 grams of protein. That's nearly the same as a serving of chicken breast. But a pound of beans? That's like $1 or $2. Try getting that kind of value from meat or even canned goods. And they're not just good for protein. They're full of carbs, minerals like iron and magnesium, and they help you stay full for a long time. Basically, they're a full meal in one scoop. Now, here's what blew my mind. According to research from the University of Michigan, dried beans can last up to 30 years when stored properly. That's not a typo. 3 decades. FEMA and other government agencies vacuum seal these things in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and toss them into long-term storage. They know that beans are one of the few foods that can truly outlast time. You should too. But don't just grab any beans. Pinto beans, black beans, navy beans, lentils. These are the MVPs. Lentils cook fast and don't need soaking, which makes them awesome in emergencies. Black beans and pintos, on the other hand, are great long-term fuel and super versatile in recipes. Split pea soup, chili, bean burgers, you're set. Now let me give you a tip. Don't just buy the 1-pound bags. Head to the bulk section, usually hidden near pet food or baking supplies, and you might find 10 or 20-pound bags that give you insane value. I found a 20-pound bag of pinto beans for under $15.00 once. Do the math, and that's like 200 servings of food for under 8 cents each. And the best part? You don't even need to cook them the old-fashioned way if you prep ahead. You can grind them into flour for quick cooking recipes, pre-soak and freeze, or pressure cook them in under an hour. They're flexible. Most people overlook beans because they seem boring, but in a crisis, boring is dependable. Boring fills bellies. Boring saves lives. If the power's out, the roads are closed, and shelves are bare, beans will still be there. 10 canned vegetables, the hidden greens in every government bunker. You walk through Walmart's canned food aisle all the time, right? Probably grab a few cans of corn or green beans and move on. But let me tell you something. That aisle holds way more value than most people realize. And I'm not just talking about those basic cans your grandma used to heat up. I'm talking about a full-blown treasure chest of survival nutrition, quietly sitting right in front of everyone's face. Here's what most people don't know. Government stockpiles are full of canned vegetables. FEMA, the military, and even state-level emergency teams keep entire inventories of canned goods ready for deployment in a crisis. Why? Because canned veggies are shelf-stable, affordable, and incredibly nutrient-dense, especially when fresh produce becomes a luxury. Now, here's the fun part. While everyone's buying green beans and peas, the real gems are the ones people ignore. I'm talking canned pumpkin, beets, sweet potatoes, collard greens, artichokes, even sauerkraut. These aren't just side dishes, they're nutrition bombs. Take canned pumpkin, for example. It's absolutely loaded with vitamin A, potassium, and fiber. One serving supports immune health, vision, and digestive function. And during emergencies, when you're not getting fresh veggies, that vitamin A is a lifesaver. Same goes for beets, high in nitrates which help with blood flow and stamina. Sweet potatoes, full of complex carbs and vitamin C. And get this, canned veggies are often just as nutritious as fresh ones, if not more. Studies show that the canning process actually preserves a lot of the vitamins, especially because they're packed and sealed within hours of harvesting. That means what you're eating came straight from the field, processed fast, and then locked up tight. Another bonus? You don't need refrigeration, fancy prep, or cooking skills. Open, heat, eat. Or eat it cold if the power's out and you're in a pinch. Canned spinach goes straight into soups. Canned carrots mash into stews. Canned sauerkraut? Gut health booster and zero prep. And yeah, prices are still good. While inflation's made some items skyrocket, canned veggies are still some of the best bang for buck nutrition at the store. You can find quality cans for under $1, 0 cents if you know where to look. Walmart's great value line and store brands from Del Monte or Libby's are solid options. Stock up on the less common stuff, pumpkin, greens, yams, before everyone else catches on. Here's my final piece of advice. Don't just buy what you always buy. Build out your pantry with variety. Canned kale, artichoke hearts, even mushrooms. They not only help with nutrition, they keep meals interesting. Because let's face it, eating the same thing every day during a long emergency gets old fast. The bottom line? Don't sleep on canned vegetables. They're sitting there, hiding in plain sight, while the government quietly fills its bunkers with them. They're cheap, nutritious, and they might be the thing that keeps your family healthy when fresh produce disappears. All right, folks, before we wrap this up, let's quickly go over the 10 survival foods Walmart has tucked away, hiding in plain sight. These aren't just any random items. These are the essentials that government agencies like FEMA are quietly stockpiling while the rest of us walk right past them. So, we've got powdered milk for all your dairy needs, overlooked canned meats packed with protein, the nutrient-rich and insanely long-lasting freeze-dried fruits, versatile bulk grains like quinoa and millet, and raw honey, nature's indestructible superfood. Then there are dried beans for perfect protein combos, strategic canned veggies, calorie-dense peanut butter, multi-purpose iodized salt, and of course those game-changing multivitamins to fill any nutrition gaps. Here's what most people miss though. It's not just about grabbing these items. It's about how you store, organize, and combine them for maximum impact. Want to know the ultimate hack? Get yourself 3 food-grade 5-gallon buckets with tight-sealing gamma lids. It's a total game changer. Fill the first bucket with your bulk grains and dried beans, toss in some oxygen absorbers, and bam, you've got staple foods that can last decades. The second bucket? Use it to store your canned items and your jar of honey. The third bucket is where you stash everything else, like salt, peanut butter, powdered milk, and your multivitamins. Oh, and leave the silica packets in the vitamin bottles to keep them fresh. Now, I'm not saying disaster is knocking on our doors, but here's the truth. Those who prepare today won't be scrambling tomorrow. The government's preparing. Isn't it time you did the same? If you found this helpful, smash that like button and drop a comment below. Which of these do you already have in your pantry? Don't forget to hit subscribe for more life-saving tips. Stay ready, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next video.